Listen, right now you could be only a few clicks away from experiencing something amazing, something that has changed thousands of lives all over the world. I'm talking about a high consciousness field similar to those at pilgrimage sites and sacred places. It's where people go to heal, to connect, and to become the best possible version of themselves. With FLFE, you can bring such a high consciousness field into your home right now. It's a spiritual quantum technology based on the work of Nikola Tesla. Better sleep, more energy, greater well-being, improved finances, electrosmog mitigation. These are only some of the things people on the FLFE service are experiencing. Try it now for 15 days completely free of charge, no credit card needed. Just click on a link down below to start your free, no strings attached FLFE trial right now.
The thing I would say is, when you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it. That's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.
Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, it's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is Friday, May 10th, 2024, and we're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. We're on an exciting journey. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here with us. Charlotte, thank you. Charlotte kind of kicked this off with a contribution in a live chat. Thank you so much. Thank you on YouTube, Rumble, and X. Welcome in a live chat. I see some very familiar names and some new names. Good to see you all. My friends, I think in the last weeks, we've been diving really, really deep into certain concepts. And there's a quote from a book, I forget the author, but it's something like, we live in a world where doctors destroy health, lawyers destroy justice, bankers destroy the economy, and whatnot. But we have to dig deeper than this. Steve Jobs in this intro, I think, was onto something. I don't think it was the entire thing. I think it was sort of the beginning of a thought experiment. Is life what we are born into? Is it what we make of it, or does it go further than that? And I think once people start exploring things deeper, what they get to when they keep digging is the most difficult thing to believe. Now, in recent days, there was a video that went viral from a documentary about a senior economic advisor of the Biden administration. It sounds so weird to say these words. Never ceases to sound surreal, because it is. And that senior advisor couldn't explain at all how money creation works, which puts him on a list with just about anybody else. Most people don't understand at all that the government doesn't print money, the government doesn't create money. The Federal Reserve in the United States does, a conglomerate of private banks that creates money out of thin air and then lends it to the government at interest. The reason why I'm sharing this particular piece of information is because just like everything else, there's one thing that you see on the surface, one thing that you believe it to be, and then there is a truth, which is something completely different. It's like that with every aspect of life. The government does not create money. The government is indebted. It will always be indebted. If it were to ever try to repay its debt, there would be no more money in the system because money is credit. And what would still be owed is the interest. The reason why I'm bringing this up, because there's people out there that are running on fiscal responsibility and balancing the budget and reducing national debt. And it's all bullshit and theatrics. That's not how it works. Money is dead. Every dollar in your pocket is just legal tender to all debts, public and private. But now a lot of businesses don't even accept that. They just want the electronic form of it because that's what money is. It's digits on a screen. You go to a bank. What do you trade? You trade your life force. You trade hundreds of thousands of hours of your life force to get what? A mortgage, to get a death certificate, to get a loan. What do you believe happens there? What do you believe most people, maybe not you, but when I'm saying use, what the general public believes happens is that the bank lends you money. It doesn't. Bank doesn't have that money. The depositor's money, it's illegal, by the way. It's illegal to lend out that money that the depositors put there in a savings account. Can't do that. What happens is you walk in and you say, I'll promise to repay you over X amount of years for X amount of interest. Now the bank goes and they type the digit into the computer. Let's say $300,000. That's how you want to buy a house. They put that on their balance sheets as an asset and as a liability. And the minute that you sign that contract and you sign over your life force to repay it, that money is created out of thin air, was never there to begin with. Now you need to repay that plus interest. The interest was not created. The interest is what we exchange with each other. And we all know it's a game of musical chairs. That's how this system operates. Nobody understands it really. I mean, some people do, but the majority of people have no idea whatsoever. If they did, this would come crumbling down. Why? Here's the why. There's a reason why I'm telling you this story. Because the minute they would understand it, they would stop doing what? Believing in it. And how does the monetary system operate? By people believing in the value of paper. Don't get me wrong. A means of exchange is a very smart thing to do. It helps us. That in and of itself is not a bad thing. But it is backed by nothing today than our belief, our faith. But what about the rest? What about all the other systems? It's exactly the same. The reason why any system operates within human society is because enough people believe in it. When they stop believing in it, those systems go away. They cease to exist after a period of time because our faith is the only power that every system has that powers it. That's all there is. But we need to go deeper to understand the full meaning of this. This morning, I was told a story of how if we look at our world and we're trying to find pure water where it exists in its purest form, where do we go? Well, we go to maybe a spring in the mountains. And that is water. That's as pure as it can get. That's as pure as we know it to be. And then, and I'm talking to most people now, especially in North America, but some other countries too, most countries actually. Where do people go today to get water? They go to the faucet in their kitchen, in their bathroom. They open the faucet and what comes out? They think it's water. but it's not. It has basically nothing to do with the original spring water that's up in the mountain. It has almost nothing in common with it. It's heavily altered. It's full of chemicals, fluoride, you name it, all the other stuff. It's not the sustenance of life. But when you ask people to get you some water, they will not walk to the spring. They'll walk to the faucet and they believe it's the same thing. It's their faith. And here we go into a much deeper realm. People can wrap their minds around our faith keeps the monetary system alive. Our faith keeps the justice system alive. There's no justice in a justice system. There's no fairness. That's not what it's there for. It wasn't established to provide balance, to provide justice. It's a racket. It was always a racket. It's always there to do just that. People can wrap their minds around that if they study deep enough. They can even wrap their minds around the very fact that science, medicine, all these fields are belief systems that cease to exist in their current form when we stop believing in them. But what about the very fabric of this reality, which you might call the matrix? How does it power itself? And here we might get to the core of it. Is it actually our belief that it is real that makes it so? Is it that we see something and we believe it's the real thing because it's been so long since we've seen the real thing that keeps this matrix going? Are we truly, like it was portrayed in the Matrix movie, the battery? Is our attention, our mind, our faith, our want, we want to believe so much in it? And are we scared to give ourselves permission to go beyond this? Think about it. We're told by the sciences, by mainstream science, by astronomy, by many other sciences, that out there is the vast infinite space. But for 99.99% of all people, if not all people, this is a confined space that we're in, and it seems to be sort of isolated from everything else. We're only told about our interconnectedness with all the solar system and everything, but we experience this as a very confined space. As a matter of fact, this space in and of itself has no signs of infinity. Everything that we can see is finite. We see the top of a tree, we see the top of a mountain, we see the end of the ocean, the end of the lake, we see the end of the road. Everything has a finite affinity to it. Affinity, it's finite. But we're not finite. We know this now. We feel this. We know this. We've explored this. There's a part of us that is infinite. So are we the ones who are powering the system that limits us without knowing it? Is our belief in it being real what keeps it alive? And what would it look like if we would withdraw that belief? Would we have to ultimately believe in something else right away? And could we even pursue this idea, this possibility, without losing our minds? Even the science within this construct tells us that whatever we perceive to be solid is not solid. Whatever we perceive to be matter is not truly matter. You go down to the tiniest particle molecule and you still find space, you find energy. But what does that tell us? In this intro that we shared with Steve Jobs, I think he was really onto something. And there is a fundamental difference between, I think, what he was saying and where this is leading to. What he was saying is, within this construct, you can alter, you can change, you can manifest, you can co-create, you can do all these things. And I do believe we should strive to create great circumstances for ourselves because it allows us to do many things that we otherwise couldn't. When we're struggling, it's very hard to do anything else but struggle. I get that. That's good. But is that the alpha and the omega of it all? Is that the beginning and the end of it all? To have a good life. People, they email me, hey, what are you talking about? It's all about joy. It's a play. It's a game. Let's just have fun. Let's just go out and enjoy, and let's just manifest and create. And okay. But what are we playing in? Are we in a game? Are we in a computer game? Are we in a simulation? And if so, whose simulation is it? Who created it and to what end? And what would happen if we quit believing in it? Because everything in this world, everything that is unfolding now, every conflict, every disaster, every drama that is unfolding within the human family is unfolding because of colliding and clashing beliefs. Nothing else. There's nothing else. There is no fundamental matter. There's only beliefs that clash. And when those beliefs are far enough from each other, that creates conflict and war. If you can convince people that their belief is superior, that their belief is the truth, and convince the other group that their belief is the truth, well, what do you have? You have two people who claim to have the truth, and those two truths are opposing. So what will happen? Sooner rather than later, they will fight each other over that truth, and everybody claims to have it. The Israelis have it, or the Israeli government has it. Palestinians have it. The Christians have it. The Republicans have it. The Democrats have it. The Buddhists have it. The scientists have it. Everybody has the truth. And it's all okay. As long as people go there, subscribe to some box, find their home in it, and believe in it and defend it. They're wearing the colors. They're wearing the team jersey. That's all good. You could wear as many team jerseys as you want, just as long as you wear a jersey. You could root for any team you want, doesn't matter, as long as you root for a team. It's all good. But what happens when you stop rooting? What happens when you stop putting on the jersey? What happens if you walk off the field and say it's all a game? None of it is real. It was all invented by someone, somewhere, sometime. I'm asking, I'm not claiming to have an ultimate answer. I'm asking the question. And if the only reason that people are not willing to go there is because it's uncomfortable, because it might hurt, because it might rob us of that which we know is certain, which is not so, I'm not willing to let go of it. If the only answer is, how can you live life like that? How can you live life if you don't believe anything is real? I'm questioning. Because wherever I go deep enough, I find more questions than answers. Wherever I dig deep enough, I have more question marks than periods. Is it a field that's being projected on us? Or are we the ones powering it? Is our attention, our hijacked attention, our hijacked minds, is it doing that? How does a magic show work? The minute that you might know on some level that the magician is not a magician, he's a trickster. You might know that on some level, but when you buy the ticket, you want to believe, because otherwise, what's the experience going to be like? So you buy the ticket. It's a lavish, luxurious theater, and the magician is great. And he's doing all the tricks, and he's pulling the rabbit out of the hat, and he's doing everything and anything in the book. And if you sit there and see it for what it is, you'll get up and go, because you know it's a trick, it's not real. But if you sit there and let yourself be pulled in, yes, you have the entertainment, but you're watching an illusion. And this is turning out to be a freaking illusion all over, everything. It's turning out to be an illusion. By no means am I the first person saying this. By no means is this the first period of time in our history where people have said this. People of various religious and spiritual and cultural traditions have called this the Maya, the great illusion. But for some reason, even when people learn this and study this, they're not willing to explore what it could mean. Because see, when we've gone through these cycles in our history where technology, I think, comes up, then it's being reset, and then we're building it up again. It's being reset, we're building it up again. So in certain periods, you couldn't have technological terms. What would the term simulation have meant to the people 150 years ago? What would the words computer game would have meant to people 100 years ago? Nothing. Nothing. All of this, an artificial simulation, what does that mean? Now, we have proven to ourselves that we're simulating anything and everything. We're proving to ourselves there's nothing that we do in real life that we don't first simulate, test, and continually simulate. How are cars being developed? They do crash tests. They simulate an event. And they make it as real as possible, just like everything and anything else. What we don't know will happen if 3% of the population, 6% of the population, 9% of the population lose their faith in the illusion and not immediately invested into a new illusion. What will happen in that flux state? What will happen when we withdraw our energy? I think we could look at some isolated systems within our human society, some disciplines and systems that have existed over time and are not here anymore, that have sort of gone away. You know, I mean, this is just a very simple thing. And you might think this doesn't apply, but I'm an artist and songwriter. When I started out, when I had my first record deal, the most important thing, aside from life, from touring, was CDs. That was it. Nobody thought that CDs were a belief system. Everybody thought that was the reality. That's the medium that we have. That's how music is being transported. Of course, a little bit before that, it was cassettes, and before that, it was LPs, but, you know, it was vinyl. But now you had CDs, and that was the reality. That was the belief system. I look at my truck today. I look at my living room today. Not even my computer has CD. I don't even know where to put all the CDs that I owned at one point. They're gone. A belief system that was so real. People were killed over CDs. Trust me, in the industry, people were killed over sales, and all of a sudden it's gone, and we've moved on to the next thing. And in a few years, nobody will talk about CDs ever again. It's just one tiny example of how we move from one belief system to the other. And for a time, we invest so much in it. For a time, for a lot of people, people that were growing up, they were in their teens, they had jobs and saved money to buy CDs. It's part of their culture. It's part of their reality. Well, they don't do that anymore. We don't do a lot of things that we did 20, 30, 40 years ago. And we think it's just an advancement of technology, but we had to shift belief systems to keep going. We continually have to shift belief systems. As a matter of fact, the belief system that we live in now would be so foreign to the one 100 years ago, 150 years ago, that people from that time period would go insane immediately if they were in our belief system, and probably vice versa. So we are doing that anyways. We're just not willing to go far enough with that thought. We're just not allowing ourselves to go far enough. If this is prime reality, damn, I don't believe it. I really don't believe it. And since I've given myself permission to explore this, my life has gotten freer and freer and freer. My mind has gotten freer. My thoughts have got freer. My experiences have gotten freer. I view people differently. I have actually more unconditional everything, more unconditional love, acceptance for things, because I know we've been deeply, deeply, deeply programmed into this. We've been tricked and deceived in all possible ways and manners. But we all have, you have it, I know you have it, not all of us, not all people out there, but a lot of you have memories. Memories that you cannot, you have no lifetime memory of it. You have memory of a feeling. You have memory of an experience. You have memories of a way of being that is vastly different from this way of being. You have no lifetime memory from this life to justify those memories. You just remember there was a time when you felt lighter. Everything felt easier. It was flowing. I don't know if I have those memories where all the heaviness and density and darkness that we experience here was not part of it. Where did those memories come from? Why are we striving for greater and greater sovereignty and freedom? What is that within us that knows that? If we've never experienced it in this life, how do we know? How do we know that there's something more? How do we know that there's something greater? How do we know there's absolute sovereignty and freedom if we've never experienced in this lifetime? What makes us feel this and strive and all of that? What is it? There is a part of us, actually the real us, I believe, that is holding all that knowledge, information, and wisdom. And we're trying to interpret it with these body computers. We're trying to concretize these concepts and conceptualize them and verbalize them and put them in some form so that we can converse about it, so that we can maybe gain greater understanding about it. And sometimes we just have to let go of that idea that we need to find a concept, find the word matrix for it, and just sit with it. The greatest courage you'll ever have to muster up is to sit quietly under a tree or in a chair, have no distractions, have nothing to think about in particular, and just be with the moment and where it takes you. That's the greatest courage you'll ever have to have, because it will lead you through all kinds of valleys and into the depths of what seems like nothingness. Most people never do it in their lifetime. Those who do, they're changed. They're changed forever. It's when you turn off everything else, is when you make sure no one disturbs you and you sit with yourself and your beingness for as long as it takes. And there's something that will begin to happen. And there's an abyss that you will stare into. And you either go there, you either jump into the abyss or you don't, and you live your life as you have. And it will always stay within those parameters that it has. Or you jump into the abyss and you watch what happens. And when it gets dark and difficult and painful, you keep going. There's a place that you end up in. There's a space never before experienced in your lifetime. You'll never forget it. You'll never be the same again. And if you don't do it, it's fine. It's okay. It's you. It's your life. But once you went there, you will never see this world in the same light again. You will never look at a cloud or the sky or a tree in the same light again. It'll be so much more than that. And you will seek to have the greater perspective every single day. All right, my friends. I'm a leave with this here. I want to thank you all, by the way, for your support that allows us to do these things. I want to thank you in the name of our entire family and team There's a few families now connected to the Inspire team that do great work behind the scenes, and you being with us, you supporting us on locals, you doing something like getting this Truth Seeker shirt, which we really appreciate, by the way. Thank you so much. We've extended it, so it's still available today. Link in the description. That all allows our team to continually work, research, edit, present, and we're all in it with the same intention. It's very pure. So thank you for that. Thank you for being with us. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll be back with you again very, very soon.